Hey everyone, Felix from Nintendo Life here, and for a while, Nintendo, the Switch, it's been pretty stable, it's selling so many units, but what if we just for a second sat down and thought, what could go wrong with the Switch's successor? And to do that, I'm not here alone, I'm also joined by Sion?
Hello everyone, it's me, a professional Nintendo commenter, and I'm here to tell you everything that is gonna destroy Nintendo. That wasn't even funny.
We're also joined by a first, at least in these chats you've been here in a video with Alex, but it's Craig over from Pure Xbox.
Hello! It is I, Craig!
Yay!
And to any of you that don't know, it's because we also have, we have a PlayStation channel, Push Square, and we also have an Xbox channel, which Craig runs. And it's really nice of him to be here because you're also a Nintendo fan, right?
I am, so much so that when I applied for the role at Pure Xbox, one of the questions was, can you prove to us that you're a Pure Xbox kind of guy, like an Xbox gamer at heart? Because what we're getting is that you really love Nintendo. So I had to go through that to get the job. So, me being here is very, very, very cool. I'm loving it. I'm so excited. You mentioned before I did it with Alex.
Yes, Whelming Golf.
Yeah, that was ironically my first ever video working for the family that we're all in. I just find it so funny that I was with Nintendo Life then, and I'm back. I'm really excited.
On the topic of a potential Switch successor, everybody seems to want a Switch 2 at this point. We just finally hit is it the 5-year or it's the 6-year anniversary of the Switch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
So, it seems like everybody wants a Switch 2, but nobody seems to talk about the negatives that could come along with that. Like, the Switch is great right now, and it gets all of these different games, and sure, NSO's price is high and stuff, but what if it launches and it's a digital only system? What if you can't use cartridges anymore? Then you'd be forced to buy games through the eShop, and you'd have to do the PS5 digital only thing, and I don't know, I guess Xbox has that too, right?
Yeah.
But that'd be a really big downside for me. But do you guys have things that that you think would kill, a Switch 2, a Switch Pro?
I was thinking before we move on from the idea of it not being physical anymore. What are we gonna put in our mouths if we don't have disgusting cartridges? That's probably one of my favorite selling points of the Switch in its current state.
Oh
is
yeah,
that
yeah.
The cartridges taste like absolutely something.
I remember, when I first got my Switch, I made every friend I got say, hey, just try and put it in your mouth, trust me.
Trust me.
Do you want to taste Mario Kart or do you want to taste Zelda?
You just remove the little food cover. And
Yeah,
it's just
a master chef,
Switch
when we
game.
have 3 judges who have to try the food.
Well, this is exactly why. You wouldn't be able to have those dinner dates with your mates if it was digital. And I personally, I'm a massive collector of physical games. I know you guys are as well. But there's something magical about getting a physical game, right? You can either go to your local store, you can order it, and you can wait for something physical to drop through your letterbox. But if it was digital, I feel like that really would hurt it. The Switch 2 that we're hypothetically thinking is going to go to, but with Xbox as well, we see everything going digital. There's even the Series S. It's a digital console. It doesn't have a disc tray.
Yeah.
And I recently got a Series S, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I think it's a wonderful little console, but the reason why I didn't want it at first was because it didn't have a disc tray. I couldn't buy anything physical. I couldn't get the collector's editions and almost feel as though they're connected. And if they're not connected by being able to put the disc in that you just got, then I don't know, it ruins the spark.
True. I mean, I think Nintendo is going to maybe have a digital-only console, kind of like a PlayStation and Microsoft. We have the digital and we have the physical. So because there are people that don't care about physical and they only want to play their games. I mean, PC gaming, Steam and all that stuff, that's basically all digital. I mean, you have
True.
You don't use really discs on PC anymore, and I don't see a lot of people complaining about that. And
Well, it's funny you say that because that's exactly where it came from. That's where this physical to digital feeling changed for me, because when I bought myself a PC and I started doing a lot of my gaming on PC, I felt like games felt like programs. They didn't feel like games. They felt like a .exe. And I opened it and it was just like, I don't know, opening up Google Chrome or something. It just didn't feel as gamey as having a box with a little instructions tablet or whatever in there, like a little book, and then a physical disc or cartridge. And I just feel like you lose that when you go digital.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And I think before I got the job at Nintendo Life, I think I didn't care if it was digital. I had a lot of my games digital. I didn't have a lot of physical games, but then I met Xeon, I met other people in the Nintendo community, and now I'm at the point where, digital games just, for me, they aren't as special as my physical games. Sometimes I'll get a digital game if it's a game I know I'll play a lot and I don't want to go in and get my cartridge a lot of the time. But I opt for physical now just because it's just a really cool thing to display. And you own it for life and you can share it with people, with friends, and it's great.
Another thing that they could do that would, I think, would be, I don't think a nail in the coffin, but like what if a Switch 2 comes out and it doesn't have backwards compatibility with original Switch games, or they do something where, like, when the Wii U came out, you could transfer your Wii games to it and you could play them in the digital Wii menu. But if you wanted to play them on the Wii U menu, you had to pay $2 extra. So they could do something like that, where you have to pay an extra fee to play your Switch games on the new console. Have you considered how awful that would be? Or
I mean, just the
possible?
thought of not being able to play all the digital games that you've bought on the Switch and will be able to run on the next console, I mean, that would just be horrible.
When you go from one console to another, the transition is always really, really awkward, because you spent a lot of time making a relationship with this console that has been in your living room or in your bag or whatever for how many odd years. And when all of that investment into the system is just made redundant by a single decision to bring out something that it can't talk with, it really does. It brings up the question that I feel forced into spending my money, which as a consumer I feel is kind of cheeky, but I get it. Obviously, you got a new thing, you're selling it off, you have this fantastic new product, and Nintendo is really good at making new wacky things that you have to try, you have to get involved with to really understand how it works. Because, like, I wasn't sold on the Switch immediately. I liked the concept of it, but the idea, I don't know, it wasn't like a true console or a true handheld. It made a really weird feeling for me. But because I got it and I got my hands on it and I was using it, I loved it. But the idea that moving from what the Switch is now, which I would almost consider is a perfect console, like I would go as far as to say it's got a load of kinks. It's, in a console living room setting, it's not the best. You've got PlayStation and Xbox, which I think are just better living room consoles. But when it comes to the Switch, its model, the portable nature of it is so perfect that if they were to change that drastically and just remove it, I think they would flop, considering how great it used to be. And I just think that if there's no way that they can talk, like the Switch and the Switch 2, if there's no crossplay or cross-gen element, then you're shooting yourself in the foot for all of this amazing tech that you've had for so many years that is still working now.
The Switch is, to me, the perfect console, like outside of Joy-Con Drift, which I really hope they fix in the next console, because that's awful. I've had so many controllers like I had to replace or fix, like put in new joysticks. It's not very fun.
I feel like finding a corner because so many people have Joy-Con Drift and I have never experienced it. I'm just like, hello, perfect boy over here.
I used to be that way too, and then my first set started drifting, and I sent it into Nintendo and got them fixed, and my partners started drifting. But then recently, like a buddy of mine, his started drifting, and I went through the process for him and shipped them out. But then he got them back, and like after a few weeks, they both started drifting again on him.
Yeah.
And that sounds like another real serious thing. Like if Nintendo releases a Switch 2 and they don't change these joysticks out to something like the what were those ones that Alex covered in the past? Were they like the Hall effect? Or no, that's the...
Oh, I remember his video going in about the mechanics of it and where it goes wrong.
hopefully Nintendo addresses the Joy-Con drifting in the new Switch. But yeah, I think that'd be terrible if they don't.
If they, for instance, had the Switch 2 come out with like almost the same model of Joy-Cons, dockable, portable, but they fixed the Joy-Con drift, maybe changed the Joy-Cons a little bit in maybe its makeup and just build, would you say that would be enough to justify being the second console?
So like just like do you mean
Absolutely
that
not.
Well, so
That's a problem that shouldn't have been there from the start. And I am like, in Denmark, you can't send them into Nintendo. If they're in for a 2-year warranty, like from where you've bought it in Denmark, you can just send it back or get a new one. But outside of the 2 years, you're just screwed. You can't do anything about it. You have to fix it yourself, and that's unacceptable. And I'm just getting mad talking about it. So how about we move on?
His Joy-Con eyes are getting really angry.
Well, what else is something that gets you mad thinking about the Switch 2, Felix?
A Switch XL as big as a TV screen.
But
Dude,
we've seen how cool that is.
No, but
The
like
one
the
that, like,
Joy-Con,
opens up?
the Joy-Cons are still the same size on the side.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That feels
How
like the
big
way
is-
the phones are going, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then
At some point, you just
go,
think, no, just give me the iPhone Mini. I'm good.
Just a tiny phone that can slip into your pocket, like the Joy-Cons of your massive Switch 2 XL that make no sense.
The mini Switch though is digital only. Only the big boy plays cartridges.
I could see that being a thing for some reason. See, the thing is that I really like the cartridges. They are so cool. They're much smarter than, you know, the CDs in my opinion, because they can get scratched, and like all the games I have from when I was a kid on my Wii, they're all like, I had to buy new copies because they were all just scratched. I didn't take very good care of them. And with the cartridges, that doesn't really happen, and it's just it's so small. And the game is usually like, you don't have to download anything, where on PlayStation and on Xbox you plop in the disc and it has to download or copy or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really annoying.
Yeah.
And it
I'm
kind
exposed. It's true. Discs are keys. They're just keys for consoles.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. It's like, oh, you got a disc? Cool. It's a key. But I still like having the disc.
True.
What if they did like the PSP? You know, the little
the
little
UMDs?
discs, but like
No.
they're in a cartridge. I always thought they looked like you want to bite them for some reason. I just wanted to, like, I don't know if it was because I was younger or if I just had a taste for biting discs.
I thought
I
they
don't
were
get it.
maybe you would be the person to eat a Switch 2, wouldn't you?
I would. I have a big appetite, so make sure it's the XL with tiny Joy-Cons.
Oh, that would be so bad. Like, you have a little thing on the back that goes up and you plop in the little disc. Oh.
The weird thing with that was like I used to think those things were super cool as a kid, probably just because it was like, oh, disc in plastic, cool.
Exactly, like the box phenomenon, where you buy something and the box is more exciting.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, but
Yeah.
then now like the discs don't often get super scratched because the casing can keep them safe, but the cases will break on you, and sometimes like if I think I heard that the plastic was also supposed to help prevent the disc from like moving around while you're playing the system, while it's like loading the games. But I don't. Yeah, I please don't do that, Nintendo. Please don't do discs ever again. I don't. Even though Wii U discs are they're beautiful. There's something like the edges are super round and they're really premium feeling. I don't know why.
The edges are round. It's a round disc.
It's different. It's different.
Oh, she's joking.
disc.
If you knew the science behind it, I wouldn't even say anything. I'm trying to quote Scott Pilgrim, but I can't remember the line. I think it's, if you knew the science, maybe I'd listen.
But I think I really hope they, like, oh, that would be so bad. Like, just the whole online thing, because they've been spending so long, like, setting it up. Just, we're doing something new, like new accounts or something, just like, you know, they've changed it up quite a bit during the years, and I just hope they stick with what they have, even though it's not the best. I think it's like a thing that can...
Yeah, stick with what works.
If they keep adding stuff to it, eventually it'll be worth the price.
This is what I was thinking. It's like adding to what already exists. I think if you go too far away, that might be a mistake. But if you make what's there and you you just add to it and add to it. Like, the one thing that I think if Switch 2 did not do would be a big no-no is add themes. I just think if it launched without themes,
Yeah.
that would really suck because I think we like themes. I don't know about
It
you,
is
but
so
I think
weird
we need themes.
that there isn't themes. I mean, it's a stupid thing because most of the time you're playing a game, but it's just they have a menu for it. They could have just
Yeah.
had a little switch saying light or dark theme. No, it's a whole section in the settings that says themes. And
Yeah, there
there's
could just be like a
nothing.
color picker. Like even
Yeah.
like a single image, and it like has to be less than like it can't be more than 1 megabyte or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Like
See, what I would like to do is add custom pictures. I would just add the picture of Xeon that we've got in the Discord of his classes. And that's my background. And it'd just
Oh,
be
no.
every time I'm booting up a game, it'd be like, you want to play this game? Like, I just like the
custom
idea of
sound
themes.
effects now too.
Yeah, when it turns on, you just go, boop.
The thing is, a console doesn't even have to have themes. Like, take a look at the PlayStation 5. I really like how they do it. Like, you have the games there and then a
Are
giant...
there still no themes on PS5 either?
No, the thing is, it doesn't work on PS5 with themes because each game has its own like background. So when
Yeah.
you go through it, it has its
Ah.
own background and its own like. Well, not all of the games, but most of the games has like background music for that game, which is really cool.
I
And-
really like it unless you're on a horror game at nighttime and it's just like, and I'm like, I'm trying to get ready for bed.
Worst case scenario, you just like click to the left and then suddenly, la, da, da, and it's Astro's Playroom and it's just a good time.
Yeah, I
but
fall
I-
asleep immediately.
I really like how that's done, and the Switch is just silence. Like, I think it would be a mistake to not have anything again. Like the Switch, so much of the Wii and the Wii U, and just menu music. Like the Switch feels so, like when you look at themes, when you look at, there's just not a lot of personality, if that makes sense.
Switch
Yeah.
dashboard is like the last place I want to be on my Switch. And every time I turn it on, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to the game because there's nothing here.
Yeah,
I guess you're right. It's kind of like white bread. Like I like white bread, but it's like there's nothing there until I put like peanut butter and jelly on it. Like I'm not just gonna eat white bread on its own. And that's the Switch menu. Unless you put any games on there, there's nothing fun about it.
So what you're saying is the Switch is bread.
Yeah, and you should eat it.
I know I told everyone earlier that the Switch 2 is gonna have a funny taste. This is just a public PSA. Nobody eat your Switch. Please. I know we're making it sound really appetizing here, but please do not put peanut butter and jelly on your Switch.
We're turning it into a sandwich. But yeah, like to go back to the themes, one of the main things that get me is always FOMO. And I think it's a big mistake that there aren't themes because when I see someone with their 3DS and they've got this really cool theme on it, I just want to buy a 3DS. Like, I don't know, it like, I can't describe it in a different way other than if I walk past like a small pocket of water that looks really deep and kind of fun, I want to jump in it. Like, it's just kind of like that, where I just want it because it looks cool.
Yeah.
But if they don't do themes, they're missing a trick. And I feel if they don't do it with the Switch 2, then they're not going to catch me jumping into small pockets of water to buy the Nintendo Switch 2 XL.
Yeah.
It's weird because like I know Nintendo has come out and said that they learned a lot about the how to make the Switch based on how the Wii U turned out in the end. And the Wii U was super slow to boot up, especially if you had a lot of software on it. And the Switch always seems to be relatively quick. I've noticed when downloading software, sometimes my Switch can really lag when I'm on the main menu, but otherwise it's very snappy. But I do like think that it does feel weird that we're 6 years into the Switch now. We haven't really had that many UI revisions, and the engineers that are designing all of the programs, I guess, the internal software of the Switch, you'd think that they would be at a point where, they would be able to test out some of this stuff and add a few little theme features. But I don't know. It sounds like it's a missed opportunity at this point. But
Yeah, it's like, I think I really like about the Switch is just you turn it on, and you can go into your game again. You don't even have to close down your game, because, you know, it's not turning off completely. You're just putting it in low power mode or whatever. I can't remember the actual name. But that's really cool because it uses essentially no battery, and you don't have to close the game. You can just jump right back, and that really helps for that Switch thing. Like, it's also fun that there is an intro song, but it only plays once. It doesn't play every time you just restart it. It only plays the first time you turn on your Switch, like from factory reset or something. And that's a bit weird. But
You're missing a trick not capitalizing on how iconic the Switch click is. The snap.
no, but like
Honestly,
there is an actual song. It goes like bow ba 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 bum bum ba ba bum, and it only plays once.
I think
really
I
cool.
remember it.
Yeah, it's really cool, and no one remembers because it played like once like 6 years ago.
I think one of the, like, going off that, it also, with me at least, because I'm getting old now, it, with each generation of a new console, the iconic boot sound becomes almost like a timestamp for that period of your life. And like when I hear the 360 sound, I'm thrown back into a period of my life where I was playing Gears with my friends from school, and I was having a really, really nice time. And then you've got like the I guess just like the Xbox sound, like the original one. And I remember that being like, my mum bought a console for the living room, and we were all living in the same house at this point, and it was just really nice. So like there's an element of like time stamping and personal stuff that comes with this intro sound. And I just feel as though if you don't do that with the Switch 2, people aren't going to have almost an emotional connection to the console, which would help, I think, at least sell the nostalgia more. Because when we see like the Game Boy Advance or the Game Boy Color show up on a Direct and say like, ooh, this is coming to the Nintendo Switch, you can get it with NSO. Like, you hear the sound, and I guarantee everyone just like flips a table, rips a sink off the wall. They're so excited because they've heard this sound. And if the Switch, because the Switch is, like you say, they play it once when you buy it in 2017, and then it's gone. If you don't do that with the second version, there's a bunch of people that are going to grow up in this time where they will like make these core memories, and they won't have that sound. And I think that's a mistake.
I think with the Switch, you know, it's the click. The click is very iconic. They played in front of literally everything, and I think that's what you're going to associate with it instead of, you know, bling, biding.
It's a smart idea too, since it's just something that like every human on the planet should be able to make. Or most humans, I suppose. Like it's a very, you know, it's not something that you have to like be a professional singer or something to hit a note or something. You just snap your fingers and that's it. And I think that's really smart. But I think you're right, Felix. That's the sound, and it's, I don't know. It's not as cool.
It would be nice to have that at least at the start of the boot.
I mean, at least when you restart it, right? It wouldn't really make sense.
You feel like you're having your own little mini Nintendo Direct when you turn it on. You're like, oh yeah.
You just have to take your Joy-Con on and off over and over again, and that's not healthy.
It is very satisfying though, like putting it in and it says. I remember when I got my first Switch in school. I remember one of the kids came over and like, can you do the Switch thing? Because he really, and it was just like, oh,
that's
like,
great.
Yeah.
Felix the Switch guy, even before he was at Nintendo Life. I like that.
In Denmark, at least, I mean, people have started to get Switches now, but it's not very big. At least not people I know. I have one friend who has a Switch, and he bought my old Switch like here a couple of months ago. He bought it to play Animal Crossing.
I mean, we all buy Switches to play
true.
Animal Crossing, which
That's true.
is another thing. Which, if the Switch 2 launches with an Animal Crossing, and it launches on March 20th, my birthday. That is a big mistake, because I had to wait a whole year to get a cake. They didn't give me a cake on the first day. Tom Nook was too busy telling me about all the loans that I owe him, and he didn't even make me a cake.
No.
So that would be a big mistake. Switch 2, Animal Crossing, you know, don't do it on my birthday.
Yeah.
Actually, talking about games, we haven't even touched about that, but that's a big aspect to why the Switch is very popular. I mean, aside from the portability and stuff, it just has some bloomin' good games. And it launched with some really great games like Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, it had Mario Kart, a deluxe version, but it came out on the Wii U. But it just had so many games that came out within the first year that made it sell a lot of copies, like a lot of units at the start. And I think that would be wrong. It's just, they released this new thing and they don't really have anything to put there.
So you're saying if Mario Kart 9 launches and it has 10 racers and 5 tracks, you're not going to be happy, right?
Oh, see, that's going
I'm
back.
just thinking of hypothetical things to make you upset at this point. So
True.
I was also going into that point, so I'm glad you went first. Because I was
Oh,
just
yeah?
thinking, if Switch 2 launches with Mario Kart 8, then I don't know what I'm going to do with myself.
They actually
would
released
be-
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Special Edition with all the 48 booster course DLC tracks included.
All with ray tracing.
Like that makes actual sense, and I don't like it.
But a last thing I would like to just touch upon. We've talked so much about digital games, the eShop. That is a thing I really hope they improve on, because it is just not a good experience, in my opinion.
It's terrifying. I don't go on there often, but then when I do,
It's so slow.
I just feel as though it's like, yeah, very, very slow. Half of the games shouldn't be marketed where kids are, and they're also trying to sell £10 clocks. Like, what is happening in the eShop makes absolutely no sense, but it also kind of lends itself to what Nintendo does all the time, which is just bonkers, and you can't keep track of it. Which is why I guess we're making the predictions of where it could go wrong instead of trying to figure out what they're gonna do, because Lord knows we would get it wrong. But yeah, the eShop, from my point of view, I don't go on there too often. It's terrifying.
You'll find some really good deals, but I totally agree with you guys. Like the lack of music, the lack of personality, really on the eShop. It's slow.
It's not just
I do
slow,
hope that-
it's really slow. When you go on, it has to load for ages to load, and then you go down and it has to load again. And I know Nintendo wants people to buy digitally because then they don't have to pay, for they don't have to make physical stuff and all that. They earn more money, but make that experience better. And they could totally just keep it the same. I mean, that's just, they're probably
I did
going
make
to
a
do
joke
that.
about the eShop, just saying, like, there's stuff that you shouldn't really buy on there, and then there's also clocks. I just opened it up. Recent releases: AAA Clock Special Edition bundle, and then AAA Clock Superb Edition bundle. And like, it's just
Why do you need a bundle for a clock? You only need one clock, and the Switch
You
already
need
has
3
one.
clocks at the same time. Actually, do they have like local time zones? Because that could be really useful. Damn it! They've got me.
Do you think people collect like Switch digital clocks? They're like, oh yeah, I love that stuff.
Oh my god!
Like,
I mean, they're being made.
To be honest,
so-
I'm on there, and it's more personality than the dashboard of the Switch. I would happily buy a clock, leave my Switch on just to pretend that there's some personality that isn't a game.
Please keep that. I really like the intro thing though. That's cute.
that is nice.
It is fun.
Nintendo's like, nope. If we're changing the eShop, we're changing everything, including the games. Like I said, you gotta rebuy them all over again.
The thing is, the Switch has great sound design. Like when you open up, it even has like secrets. Like if you have to click the button 3 times, it has and when you go into the settings, like it has some good sounds. But I just wish that you could have a little bit of music.
But on a flip side of that, do you think because there's a lack of noise that the little trumpet sounds that when you log in with different button configurations that they become more special because of how absent everything else is?
Yes, I do.
But would you prefer music?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I would prefer music, like just having the Wii on that like I mean it is music, but it's like really weird on the menu screen. Just having that on, that gives me nostalgia. Having the Switch on doesn't do anything. Like when I get older, it's just a static screen where I can see my games.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's like brand recognition to the console. You will feel a time of your life because you hear the sounds. You'll remember the things that you were doing around it. I remember most of my memories through music and the games I was playing. So like, I don't know, 30 Seconds to Mars, I always think of when I hear a song from them that I'm playing Escalation on Gears of War. It's just a triggered memory that like connects loads of dots. And when you don't have those dots to connect, it kind of loses that fun element of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like the Wii U and the 3DS, they change their music frequently enough that, like, for me, I've never really had a song with those systems that I can hear and I can necessarily remember that time. But we have like the Wii Shop theme. I think that did change every so often. I could be wrong on that, but the Wii Shop channel theme, like part of that is to we could blame Wii Shop Wednesday for that. But that theme was really good, and even like the Wii itself has like a little bit of a home menu jingle, and those do stand out in my brain too. And yeah, it is just weird that the Switch lacks personality in so many regards.
But yeah, I think that was basically everything that we think could go wrong with the Switch 2, or if it's even a Switch at all. Let us know down in the comments below what you think could go wrong with Nintendo's next console, and don't forget to check out our website, nintendolife.com. Also, remember to check out Craig on Pure Xbox. Thank you for being here, Craig, and thank you, Sion, for always
Thank you,
being
Craig. Thank you.
Yes.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'll always be here for you, Felix.
But yeah,
I'll invade your channel more often.
stay safe, play some video games on your Nintendo Switch until the next one comes out, and I'll see you in the next one. Felix from Nintendo Life, out.
If they put Street Pass on the Switch Pro, I think I would buy it day one. I think I would have to.
But it has no music, it's just silence.
No!